Understanding emotions. For you to master your emotions, you need to know what you are dealing with. You may think that you know all about emotions, but the truth is that you probably don't. In this video, we will explain what emotions are, what triggers them, different types of emotions, and more. After watching this video, you will understand emotions, so let's get started. What are emotions? An emotion is a reaction in a human being to a situation or event. We experience different types of emotions and experience individual emotions based on what triggers them. For example, if you receive some bad news, then this can make you fearful. On the contrary, receiving good news can make you experience emotions of joy. Emotions are complex. There are three components of emotions, which are 1. The subjective experience, 2. The physiological response, 3. The behavioral response. We will look at each of these in detail below. There have been a lot of research studies into emotions, and some experts have a different view about the different types of emotions that we experience. The earliest research suggested that we experienced 6 basic emotions that were 1. Anger, 2. Happiness, 3. Fear, 4. Surprise, 5. Disgust, 6. Sadness. Further research in the 1980s suggested that emotions can be mixed to create other variations. In 1999, research suggested that there were more basic emotions that needed to be added to the list. These were 1. Pride, 2. Shame, 3. Embarrassment, 4. Amusement, 5. Excitement, 6. Satisfaction, 7. Contempt. The combining of emotions can certainly create different emotions within us. For example, anticipation and happiness can result in excitement. There are emotional dimensions that you need to consider as well, which are anticipation versus surprise, fear versus anger, sadness versus happiness, disgust versus trust. Now, we will explain the 3 components of emotions. The subjective experience. Experts in psychology believe that people across the globe experience several basic emotions despite their culture or their background. Research has proven that emotions tend to be very subjective. The level of emotion that you may experience to the same trigger is likely to be different from that experienced by others. An example of this is your response to something that makes you angry. Imagine something that is posted online that a lot of people see and are angry about it. This may annoy you mildly, while others will be completely enraged by it. Although we put emotions into broad categories such as happy and sad, the way that you experience these emotions is going to be subjective. It is probably rare that you will experience an emotion like happiness in its purest form. What is more likely is that you will experience a combination of emotions that will result in a unique experience for you. If you are getting married soon, then you can experience a combination of excitement and nervousness, for example. These emotions can happen at the same time, or you may experience one first and then the other. The physiological response. Emotions can cause physiological reactions within you. If you are anxious about something, then this can cause your heart to race, and fear, which makes your stomach churn. Our brains are hardwired for survival, and if a threat is perceived, then it will automatically put you into fight or flight mode. There are physiological symptoms associated with this. For example, you might experience your heart racing or your palms begin to sweat. These are all controlled by your sympathetic nervous system, which has control over the involuntary response of the body. This includes digestion and blood flow. Your brain has a significant role to play with emotions. This is especially true when it comes to the amygdala, which is a component of your limbic system. It plays a significant role when fear is experienced. There have been brain scan studies that show the activation of the amygdala when participants were threatened in some way. Any damage to the amygdala will impair response. The behavioral response. How you express your emotions is the behavioral response. It is natural for us to constantly monitor the emotions of others through their facial expressions. We all have emotional intelligence, which helps us to understand the emotions that others are experiencing through their body language. It is safe to assume that a lot of expressions are universal. For example, no matter where you are in the world, a frown would be an indication of sadness, while a smile would be an indication of happiness. Some cultures try to mask their nonverbal expressions. In Western countries, it is usual for people to express negative emotions, while in Japan, people will hide this until alone. 6 universal emotions. In the early 1970s, a psychologist called Paul Ekman put forward the theory of 6 universal emotions. These have been widely accepted ever since. Here are the 6 universal emotion types with a brief explanation. Anger. You can tell if a person is angry by facial expressions such as frowning. Angry people may resort to violence and will often yell loudly. Anger is not always a bad thing, as it can motivate you to change your life for the better. Controlling your anger emotion is important so that you do not cause harm to yourself or other people. Disgust. You can experience the disgust emotion on a moral level or a physical level. If you see someone doing something distasteful to you, then you can experience moral disgust. A physical smell from rotting food, for example, can create a physical disgust emotion. Fear. There is real fear and irrational fear. Both of these can cause your heart to race and trigger your fight or flight response. A lot of people have irrational fears when there is no real danger, but they think there is, so they experience the same strong fear emotion. Happiness. Happiness is an emotion that we all crave. It is a pleasant experience for us, and we feel satisfied and have a good sense of well-being. When you are experiencing the happiness emotion, you may speak in an upbeat way and smile a lot. Sadness. This is an emotion that we all experience from time to time. You may experience sadness from frustration or disappointment, or through the grief of losing something you loved. Some people will hide from others when they are sad. Others will cry or just be very quiet. Surprise. You can experience a nice surprise emotion or a nasty surprise emotion. Gasping is a natural reaction to a surprise. If you experience a nasty surprise, then this may trigger fear and put you in fight or flight mode. Emotions, feelings, and moods are not the same. Many people believe that emotions are the same as feelings and moods, but they are not. An emotion is usually intense but often short-lived. Most of the time, there is a cause of an emotion that you can identify. For example, if you upset your partner intentionally or unintentionally, you can experience sadness. The way that we feel is a direct result of our emotions. You will feel a certain way depending on how you perceive a particular situation. Emotion can make people feel differently. How you feel about experiencing sadness can be very different from how someone else feels about it. What is a mood? It is an emotional state that tends to be temporary. At times, your mood can be determined by a clear reason. If you believe that things are going well in your life right now, then you will be in a happy mood. But it is not always obvious why you are in a particular mood. In the next video, we will discuss the benefits of mastering your emotions.